Hello friends, subscribers and new viewers of this channel, and welcome to Machine Learning and AI Tutorials. In this AI tutorial we are going to explain how to install and run locally Microsoft's Data Formulator. Data Formulator is a powerful AI-assisted data processing and visualization tool. Before we explain how to install and run this program on a local computer, let's first give a brief demonstration. The idea is really simple. You first provide a database to the data formulator, and then by using this graphics user interface and a large language model, you will be able to obtain very nice graphs. Over here, you can see an example of a database. This is a built-in movie database that's used for demonstrating the capabilities of this amazing program. The second column shows the movie titles. The third column shows the US gross earning. This third column represents world gross earnings, and you can see the names of other columns. Let's say that we want to do a scatter plot. Consequently, we simply need to click here, and then over here we need to specify x-axis and y-axis. So what do we want to have on the x-axis? Here you can see all the options. These options are actually the columns over here. So let's go with major genre. So let's do this. This is basically the type of the movie. Let this be on the x-axis, and immediately over here you can see that we have placed action, adventure, black comedy, etc. And what do we want to have on the y-axis? We want to have, for example, US gross earnings. Simply we will copy it over here, and here it is. Here's the scatter plot. Looks beautiful. All the points on this graph represent the US gross earning of a particular movie, and you can see these are the action movie, and every point over here is a certain movie in the action genre. And here comes the power of AI. Let's imagine that instead of showing every movie in certain category, we just want to show an average earning. That is for action, we just want to show an average, the same thing for adventure, etc. So how to do that? Of course, you can write a Python code that's going to use pandas and do averaging and all sorts of things. However, we just want to use AI. So how to do that? Well, this becomes simple by using this program. So let's learn how to do that. Well, over here, instead of US gross, we need to type this, average of, and then you need to specify type. What do you need to do? Average of US underscore gross. And let's press enter, and then press over here, and now a large language model will interpret what we want to do, and it will compute the average. And over here you can see what happened behind the scene. You can see clearly all the computations. And if you now look at the graph, everything looks beautiful. Here we have computed the average. Instead of this average over here, you can do all sorts of things. You can do functions, you can even type and describe what you want to calculate, and the large language model will be able to interpret your result and to obtain the result. This is really important, and this can significantly speed up and save time. And here's the main reason why I like this software and why I decided to create a video tutorial about it. Namely, to support your calculations, you can use almost all available large language models. In addition to this, you can use locally hosted large language models that are hosted by using Ollama. And over here, if you click, you can see the models I tested. I tested DeepSeek R1, Llama 3.1, and both of these models are running on my local computer. And in addition to these models, I also tested OpenAI GPT-4o Mini, which is not locally hosted, and I had to provide API, and this model works like a charm. However, I still had some issues with Ollama hosted models. I don't know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. However, OpenAI GPT-4o Mini, which is a free version, works really, really good. Okay, let's start with installation. Partial installation instructions are given on the official GitHub repository of this project. That is, they're given over here. And if you scroll down, you should see the option Get Started. Here you have several options. I'm going to use this first option, which will install this program by using Python. However, there are also other options such as code spaces, and there are also some other developer mode options which will be posted in the future. So let's start with the option number 1. First of all, let's start command prompt. And inside of this command prompt, we need to create our workspace folder. So let's go to C drive and let's create a folder called test M. Let's navigate to test M, and inside of this folder we need to create Python virtual environment. First of all, let's verify the Python version. You can see that I have Python 3.12, and I'm going to create a Python virtual environment inside of this folder. After creating the Python virtual environment, we need to activate the environment, and we will activate it by executing this command, and you will see in parentheses environment 1. This means that we are currently in a Python virtual environment. The next step is to install this amazing software. So how to do that? Well, literally 3 lines, 1, 2, 3. Actually 1 line, and the second line will start it. Okay, so we can type pip install data_formulator, and this should install Data Formulator. Let's be patient since it's going to take a while to install everything. After all the libraries are installed, we need to run Data Formulator, and we can run it simply by typing this command. This command will automatically open Data Formulator inside of our web browser, and let's see that. I pressed enter, you need to wait for a while, and let's see what will happen. Bang, here it is. Beautiful. The next step is to select a model such that we can use Data Formulator. How to do that? You can either click over here, or you can click on select a model. And over here you need to set the model provider, API key, and other details. We're going to start with OpenAI ChatGPT models. And in order to use these models, we need to create a free account, and we need to register, or better to say, create a free API key. Here is one disclaimer. OpenAI has several plans. There is a free plan, and I'm going to use that free plan. That is, you can use OpenAI ChatGPT version for free. However, there is a certain catch. There are rate limitations. I think that the rate limitations are 3 requests per minute, and I'm going to use that account. So how to create an API key? Well, this is super simple. Open Google and search OpenAI API, and over here you can either click on this link or on this link. Let me click on this link, and over here click on Login and click on API Platform. Over here, if you don't have an account, click on Sign Up, enter your email address. After you enter your email address, an email will be sent to your address, and then you need to click on the link in order to activate the account, or you will need to set up the password or something similar. Okay, since I already have an account, I'm going to click on Login. I'm going to enter my email address, and I'm going to click on Continue. And over here, I'm going to specify my password. Hopefully I remember my password, and I'm going to click on continue. Oops, I don't remember, so I'm going to use the saved version, and here it is. So currently I got an email with a verification code, and I need to enter the verification code over here. After you enter the verification code and you successfully log in, you will see this screen. Then you need to click on API reference. Then click here on introduction, and the easiest approach to get to the API creation menu is to click over here on Organization Settings, and you will see the API keys menu over here. You can see that I already have an API key. However, let me show you how to create a new one. Click here and call it, for example, I'm going to call it something like this. Then select a project, default project, and create secret key. And here it is. You need to copy it and store it, that is pasted in some other file, such that we can use it later on. Okay, you can see obviously my API key, however, I'm going to erase it after this video, and no one can use it. So the summary is to keep your API key secure and safe. Okay, click on Done and let's continue. Now let's go back to the Data Formulator graphics user interface. Click on Select a Model. Here as a provider, click on or type OpenAI. API key is the API key you just created. I'm going to paste my API key over here. Then model over here is really crucial. Namely, don't just type GPT some version, you need to type this model. Since this model is the only, I think, model you can use, maybe you can also use some other model. Just to show you again, this is the model you need to specify, GPT-4o mini. Consequently, paste the model name over here or type the model name here, and over here comes one very important detail. You need to properly set up the API base. That is, you need to provide the link such that this program can access ChatGPT model, and here is the link you need to type, and let's paste it over here. Now click over here and this will check the connection with the model, and after you see this green button over here, you're good to go, and click on Apply Model. And I'm not going to save this. Now we have set the model. The next step is to load data. So how to load data? Here you can either use examples or you can specify your own file. Let's use examples. Click on example, and over here I will go with movies example. However, you can also explore some other examples. And click on load table, and over here if you maximize this part, you will see all the movie names, you will see all the details. Good. Let's create our first scatter plot. So click here, and then over here you need to specify what you want to plot. So what do we want to plot on the x-axis? Let's go with the previous example, that is, let's specify the movie type or the movie genre. So let's click here and move this over here, and you can see the movie genre. You can use this to zoom in or zoom out. Okay, the next step is to specify what we want to plot on the y-axis. So on the y-axis we need to plot, for example, worldwide gross earning. To do that, let's click and move this part over here, bang, and here's our first beautiful graph. Very nice. And now comes the part where we need to use the large language model. So let's imagine that we want to compute, for example, average value. How to do that? Well, click here to erase y-axis, and then let's type average of, and let's specify what we want to do. Let's average of, for example, US underscore gross. Okay, so what we did, we are saying here that we want to plot on the y-axis for every movie genre, average US gross earning. And if you press enter, or if you press over here, you will see that large language model will be invoked. And over here, you will see the code that's being automatically generated that will perform the magic. And if you go back here, bang, here it is. Looks beautiful. Really amazing. The next step is to show you how to use the Ollama models. Now, here I have to say immediately that I had issues not with installing Ollama models, but with interfacing them with this amazing software. For some reason, Data Formulator sometimes correctly interfaces and sends data to Ollama, but sometimes it doesn't. However, maybe in the future release or the update of this software, this will be solved, and consequently, let me explain you how to set up locally hosted Ollama models. First of all, you need to install Ollama. You simply search for Ollama, go to the Ollama website, click on the download link, select Windows, and download for Windows. And this will download Ollama. This might take like maybe 20-30 seconds to download Ollama. After Ollama is downloaded, go to this file or actually go to the downloads folder and double click on the Ollama setup. That is, double click on the downloaded file, and this will start the installer. The installation is super simple. You just need to click, I think, once and you're good to go. You will be automatically able to install Ollama. That is, you just need to click on install and you're good to go. I already have Ollama on my system, so I'm not going to install it once again. Once you install Ollama, you can verify the installation by clicking here, and you will see this cute Ollama icon. This means that Ollama is installed. The next step is to explain you how to download different models. Well, over here, if you click search models, you can search for the models, and my suggestion is to go either with DeepSeek R1. This is a good option. So search DeepSeek R1, click here, and you can go with 7B, 8B, or 14B model if you have a lower end GPU. If you have, for example, a higher end GPU such as NVIDIA 5090, you can go with maybe 32 billion parameter model. I don't suggest that you go with this largest model, since if you click over here, you'll probably need a GPU that costs like $20,000 or $30,000 to run this model. However, 7B model can be executed on most GPUs, which are generation 2 or generation 3 as well as generation 4. That is NVIDIA 2060, NVIDIA 3070, NVIDIA 4070 or 4090 or something similar. Okay, so after you see this, you just need to click over here, then go to the terminal or to command prompt or open a new command prompt. And then you need to execute this command, however, change run and type bool. After you type this, a model will be downloaded. After the model is downloaded, you can use the model. After the model is downloaded, type this, Ollama list, and this will list all the models available on your system. You can see that besides DeepSeek, I also downloaded several models over here: Gemma 3, QWQ, Llama 3.1 latest, and DeepSeek. Yes, I forgot to say that you can also go with Llama 3.1 or something similar. Okay, so now Ollama is installed and the model or models, that is plural, are installed. Next, let's learn how to interface these models with our data formulator. Well, to do that, click over here. Then over here, select this option, provide the set the provider, set Ollama. You don't need the API key since the model is running locally, and over here you need to specify the model. To specify the model, you need to specify the exact name of the model. So for example, I can go with Gemma 3, I can go with this name, however, or some other model. However, the name should precisely match the name you see here. Copy this, go here, paste the model name, and you will see that localhost is automatically adjusted. That is, you don't need to enter the address of Ollama. Okay, if you don't see this, then type exactly this address and click here to test the model. And let's see what will happen. Actually, I didn't test Gemma 3, and this can be a nice test. So let's see. Yes, we can interface and we can interact with Gemma 3. Not bad. Okay, so let's click on apply model, and we now selected the model. And let's now try to execute the same thing with a different model. Or instead of average, let's do something like this. Okay, so let me try maximum of let's do, let's say US gross, and let's see what's happening. And let's press enter, and let's press here to interact with the model. And now if you go back to the terminal, you can see that the model will be executed. You can also check your GPU. You can see that GPU is being executed. However, I can already see some errors over here and something is not. However, wow, it succeeded. Wow, it succeeded. Wow, this is amazing. This is actually good, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. Depends. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's all for today. I hope that you like this video. If you like the videos I'm creating, please press the like and subscribe buttons and see you in the next video tutorial.